Yo, what's going on everyone, and welcome to today's video. And sorry about last week. I know I said in my community tab I would be doing a starter video about our third tomoe, but honestly as I was making the script for it, it really wasn't that interesting. So I scrapped that and instead decided to make a video that would seem more interesting to you guys, which is a power scaling video. Today I'm going to be giving my reasons on why I think Isshiki can or can't beat the Otsutsuki by himself. I was inspired to make this video by some debates I've seen on Twitter regarding Isshiki versus all of Shippuden, so I thought why not up that by discussing a clan that can solo all of Shippuden on their own. As you guys know, Isshiki Otsutsuki is not only the strongest Otsutsuki by a mile, but also the strongest villain to date. You don't even need to mention his abilities because his physical feats are already too much for pretty much anybody. Now I love Naruto as much as the rest, but let's be honest, Isshiki had to be restricted in order to lose, and even went on to state that the effects of Baryon mode is what was troubling, not the actual attacks themselves. So while yes, Baryon mode is the strongest thing to come out of the Naruto franchise in terms of raw power, Isshiki holds way more durability, meaning had it not been for the 2-day restriction, he would have eventually came to kill Naruto after Baryon mode went out. Now before we really get into the debate, let's refresh a little on what each Otsutsuki is capable of doing in no order. Indra and Ashura are up first, and they possess similar abilities to Naruto and Sasuke, or I guess the other way around since they technically came first. Indra is the weakest member due to his father only granting Ashura the full power of Sixth Path instead of dividing it. He possesses the Mangekyo and the ability to awaken the perfect Susanoo. And as for Ashura, he possesses the 3-headed Kurama avatar, which is similar if not greater to Naruto's second strongest form of power. Remember, Ashura is not only an Otsutsuki, but also inherited the full power of Sixth Path compared to Naruto who only got half. But either way, I don't even think it's worth mentioning these two as respectfully as possible. They get absolutely clapped by Isshiki, and it's not even a fight. Worse than Naruto and Sasuke did. Literally almost anything and every technique gets absorbed or shrink to infinity, and it won't take anything for Isshiki to knock them both out of their avatars. So yeah, I know they count as Otsutsukis, but they honestly don't have any real overpowered abilities that significantly helps the clan here in this battle compared to someone like Urashiki, for example, who wields the Rinnegan's ability to predict people's moves. If you want to count them in this battle, sure, go ahead, but I just don't think it's necessary since they are pretty much fodder in this debate. But now moving on, let's discuss Toneri, who made his debut in Naruto the Last. Toneri at his full potential, so counting Tensagon mode, was able to slice the entire moon in half. This mode was activated when unlocking the Tensagon, which I believe should be the evolution to the Byakugan. With it, he was also able to temporarily put up a decent fight against young adult Naruto, but underestimated his durability, and simply just how overpowered he truly was, which was proven when he managed to tank that same attack that sliced the moon in half. First time he took it head on, and the second time he used his hand to block it, which then allowed Naruto to one-punch him, knocking him out. I said in my Otsutsuki video that Toneri with Tensagon mode surpasses Urashiki, and I still do believe that, but without it, I think Toneri even gets clapped by Ashura himself, especially if Naruto was able to do it that easily in just that age. So even with Tensagon mode, I'm not sure how he would benefit the clan in this battle, simply because everything just gets shrunken down, or Isshiki simply dodges it effortlessly. But however, this isn't a 1v1 fight, this is a clan versus Isshiki fight, so we'll talk about it more later on. Urashiki is next, and he probably has one of the most broken dojutsus on this list. What makes him weaker than others, however, is the fact that he simply isn't that fast or strong physically, but I do think that if he was, he could have played a much bigger key factor in this fight. His blue Rinnegan allows him to go forward in time, then back, in order to predict what his opponents are doing next. He also possesses a 6 Tomoe Rinnegan like Sasuke, which allows him to teleport between dimensions. And finally, by eating his Rinnegans, he is able to transform into his final form, which gives him a boost in speed and power, as well as some new abilities. Now despite all that, another issue with Urashiki is that he is easily one of the most unintelligent characters in this clan. It is extremely embarrassing when base Jiraiya, base Kid Naruto, and Boruto pre-Karma take you out and force you to unleash your final form before Sasuke is even there. He plays too much with his food, and it greatly costs him in the time travel arc. Kinshiki Otsutsuki is the partner to Momoshiki, who possesses the ability to use chakra in order to forge destructive weapons. Nothing else really beyond that. He is strong and faster than he looks, able to keep on with adult Sasuke, but had it not been for the fact that Sasuke wanted to avoid a 2v1, and how he was already low on chakra, meaning if it was under completely fair circumstances, Sasuke definitely would have killed him eventually. So while he is stronger than Urashiki and Toneri, etc., he is still a far cry to Ishiki's powers overall. Hamura, the brother of Hagaromo, is next, and he possesses the dual Byakugan, who eventually was able to awaken the Tenseigan, meaning everything that Toneri was able to do applies to him here. Hamura is for sure stronger than Toneri, but not stronger than his brother, as hagaromo was able to kill a bloodlusted Hamura who was controlled by his mother. And even when it came to the battle against Kaguya, that fight was pretty much carried by hagaromo, who unlocked his Rinnegan beforehand. Just like Toneri, I'm not sure what Hamura can really do here to help out. He isn't fast enough to land a single attack on Isshiki and doesn't possess any broken abilities to at least play a support type role. And I know he was able to support hagaromo at least in order to stop their mom, but that was Kaguya, and we're talking about Isshiki, who's beyond her. Next up is hagaromo, the host of all-tailed beast, and like I said before, wielder to the Rinnegan, which allowed him to summon a mood and inside sealing the 10 tails by creating a supersized planetary devastation. Hagaromo also possesses senjutsu, which is a powerful buff, but however, despite his incredible power, his hacks don't really impact Isshiki at all, in the same sense to everyone else, because he's just not fast enough to catch Isshiki with the human path, for example, which allows one to rip out souls. People need to realize that ninjutsu in a general sense, regardless if it's natural or purely chakra based, is insignificant to Isshiki in a fight. And even if it's not anything chakra related, he can still shrink it and use it against the enemies. All of the Otsutsukis can launch a powerful attack at him all at once and he just save it for later. Hagaromo's feat of creating the moon is very impressive, but then again, even if he uses Isshiki as the host of gravitational pull like Sasuke did for momoshiki, what's stopping Isshiki from shrinking all the rocks and boulders coming his way with ease? And that's even if Hagaromo can even do what Sasuke did. If he does it the normal way, Isshiki can easily do what Itachi did when combining powerful range attacks to stop it. Like I said, it's not just the fact that Isshiki is extremely durable or fast or strong, it's the fact that his dojutsu abilities on top of all that make him unbeatable. But we're not done yet. I'd say so far it's an easy win for Isshiki with all the members I've listed so far, but we haven't gotten to Momoshiki or Kaguya. With Kaguya, this is probably the most problematic character for Isshiki in my opinion, mainly because of the feat she has of cutting him in half, which always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Don't get me wrong, I get that Isshiki had absolutely no idea it was coming. Like, imagine Naruto and Sasuke strolling in the leaf in their Kage versions, and for some reason Sasuke decides to cut Naruto's other arm off. I don't think anybody would see that coming, and to further prove my point, we can even look back at the Scarlet Spring adaptation where Sasuke's blade went right through Naruto because he simply didn't see it coming. Naruto was of course stronger than Sasuke, but that attack caught him by surprise because it came out of nowhere. Granted, it also wasn't Sasuke who intentionally did attack him, but I think even if for some reason he did, the outcome wouldn't change because it just doesn't make sense for him to attack Naruto. However, it's still a bit of a problem here in Kaguya and Ishiki's case because of just how much more powerful Isshiki is to Kaguya, especially if we're talking about pre-chakra fruit Kaguya. Regardless, with or without it, Isshiki is just a monster compared to her, so for him to get almost killed like that kind of just rubbed me the wrong way. Like, imagine if Academy Boruto killed Kakashi regardless of the circumstances. That's kind of like how it is here to me, but since we still know with or without that feat, Isshiki is just superior to Kaguya in every way, I'm just not gonna factor that in. Now, one of Kaguya's hacks abilities involved dimension hopping, which also includes her enemies. And to against characters of maybe the same power level of teenage Naruto and Sasuke, that's pretty impressive, but to a character that teleports dimensions as easily as ninjas walk on water, that ability just isn't anything special. I mean, I think we can just get to the point and discuss Kaguya's best feat, which was the ability to create a 2 secret orb so big it would basically consume the entire planet they were at, which is very impressive. And to be honest, I doubt Isshiki can shrink something to that size, so he really has no counters here. But maybe except for the fact that, again, he can teleport dimensions like nothing, so he really just doesn't need to be there for all that. And Kaguya would just honestly be wasting her chakra. She does have techniques that would probably kill him if they landed, like that bone ash technique she used that could have potentially one-shot any of Team 7, but would it even hit Isshiki? Probably not, because he can just shrink it and is way too fast for Kaguya to really even hit him anyways. Now finally, last but not least, we have Momoshiki, who with some simple power scaling doesn't even compare to Isshiki based off of episode 65. Naruto and Sasuke only landed one attack on Jigen, who is a much weaker version of Isshiki compared to Momoshiki, who was heavily struggling against the two. So I don't think I need to say too much more. Unlike Kaguya, urashiki, and hagaromo, who technically do have a way to overwhelm Isshiki if they all combine their best chance attacks against him, Momoshiki heavily relies on absorbing the abilities of others that revolves around ninjutsu. And even if we do count his other abilities, he can just shrink them, so there's nothing Momoshiki can really do. So now that we have gone through each member, let's reflect quickly on the techniques slash hacks that stands the best chance to kill or counter Isshiki. Urashiki's ability to see into the future, Kaguya's Ashbone technique that one-shots whoever it hits, and Hagaromo's ability to create a supersized planetary devastation the size of the moon. Now of course, one-on-one, none of these attacks would work, but Isshiki's biggest weakness, surprise surprise, is his overconfidence. When overwhelmed, Isshiki seems to not be as tactical as he usually is, which maybe has something to do with the fact that he doesn't see himself losing to anyone. So he doesn't expect anything much, and we can use the Baryon mode fight as an example. You know, not shrinking the Rasengan or the cube Naruto threw at him. And I know this next example I'm gonna give doesn't count because of plot, but realistically, if Isshiki just casually dimension top as many times as he needed until Baryon mode was finished, then he probably would have survived. Regardless, like I said, his biggest weakness is when he's put into a position of feeling overwhelmed, and if the Otsutsuki could put him into that position, then yes, something like Kaguya's Ashbone technique, for example, could work. However, Isshiki just naturally counters every member on this list. Ashura and Indra have never proven to dimension hop, so they would be left out of the fight. Toneri, urashiki, and hamura are just way too slow to really even get the chance to damage him. And the only reason urashiki stays relevant in this fight is because of his blue Rinnegan, but we're not gonna act like Isshiki wouldn't eventually come to see how they're able to predict his attacks and eliminate urashiki in seconds. I honestly think if they all attacked him at once, they definitely would get some hits in, but I think slowly but surely Isshiki would eventually eliminate the weaker members, which would then come to leave us with maybe 2 or 3 left. Ashura and Indra would get left behind in another dimension, so I don't even think they would be killed off in this case unless Isshiki comes back for them later on. Now with Hagaromo, who is the all-father of Ninshu, Kaguya, who is the mother of Hagaromo, and Momoshiki, who is someone that was stated to be feared by Kaguya herself, all still absolutely lose this battle due to Ishiki's overpowered and unfair abilities. The only chance they stand is if they all combine to become a Baryon mode level threat in order to put him in this position. I know it seems like this wasn't really a battle from the start, but I just want to make the point that it's honestly only because of how much weaker Hamura and the others are compared to someone like Momoshiki, Kaguya, and even Hagaromo. I'm giving Toneri and Momoshiki even the benefit of the doubt by allowing them to use their true forms. Technically, if Momoshiki was in his final form, Kinshiki shouldn't be here, but I'm still letting it happen. If the rest were on the same scale as even Hagaromo with better hacks, then I think this would have been a way closer fight. But seeing as how everyone else besides Kaguya, Momoshiki, and maybe Hagaromo get dogged on very quickly just makes this unfair because those 3 cannot do it on their own. Speed can carry a fight so much it is not even funny. Doesn't matter if you have a one-shot ability like Kaguya, because if you can't hit that person, then what's the point? So yes, in this battle, Isshiki does take the cake here, but if the top 3 members had stronger allies like I said before, then I think this would have been a much closer fight. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd very much appreciate a like, and for more power scaling videos, be sure to check out my channel. By the time this video comes out, we should be very close to chapter 71, so be on the lookout for the chapter review on Monday early afternoon. Thank you for those who sticked until the end. It does greatly help out the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.